What's up, guys? I'm Jules, and I'm here to red pill your asses one at a time if that's what it takes. And if you'll notice today, we're outside, and that's because this particular topic that we're going to be discussing kind of has everything to do with the state of our outdoors environment, right? So what are we going to talk about? Today, we're going to talk about global warming versus environmental pollution and the difference between the two. And I'll tell you right now, the difference between the two is that one is complete and total bullshit, and the other one is a valid concern. So we'll start with the one that's valid, which is environmental pollution. We have a lot of problems with that, for sure, okay? And the thing is that when it comes to global warming, the government's going to try to shove all this taxation down your throat, all these things that are going to regulate small business out of existence and just fuck the middle class. That's all they're going to do with that. Why do I say that? Environmental pollution, right? We have cars that still run on gasoline. Not all of our cars should be running on gasoline. We should have things like hydrogen engines, which we do have. People on YouTube do that shit all the time. We have biodegradable fuels. We have solar. Solar is getting better by the day, but we don't have any regulations going into how we build our society. Like, take a contracting company, right, that starts building houses. They're not regulated in any way. You know, they don't even build in California. They don't even build houses with backyards anymore. They're all just right next to each other, okay? And there's no need for that. There's plenty of land, all right? There's plenty of space. And you don't see any regulations going into, you know, forcing some kind of contractor or something to make whatever it is that they're building environmentally friendly. And I'm not a huge person for regulation, but I think we could have some common sense things, you know? I mean, you use copper piping in a house, you use a certain grade of wire when you're doing electricity to make things safe. Why not have modern housing already built with aspects of solar, or things that can power electric cars even, are another option. What else? We got a leaking nuclear reactor in Japan that's leaking radiation in the Pacific, okay? I don't want to surf those waves with that shit in the water. You know, we do have issues. I mean, even with, like, you know, some aspects of oil drilling and shit, for sure. And, like, you know, but the thing is, oil drilling and stuff like that is not nearly as much of an environmental problem as even the agriculture industry, for example, where they're stuffing cows into buildings right next, like, in pens where they can't even turn around. That's pretty fucked. And I love eating steak, but I like my steak to be healthy, you know? I mean, what about GMOs? GMOs are a huge environmental problem, okay? Especially the way they're engineered to kill pests and stuff, it ends up affecting the soil and everything in the soil, all the life in the soil. When you eat GMO products that are designed a certain way, they kill your gut flora. There's all kinds of problems that come along with GMOs. Nobody wants to talk about that because GMOs are being protected. You know, Google is hiding a lot of this information. You know, if you use a search engine like DuckDuckGo, which I like to use, you know, something that is based on user, you know, popularity and things that are read the most, like how it used to be. Now it's the top paid result, right? Companies pay Google to have their articles put at the top of the list, especially depending on which area they're in, right? Global warming. Why is it bullshit? I mean, to tell you, the first clue to why it's bullshit is the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and it's a good thing that we said no to it, because it would have stripped America hardcore of its middle-class businesses, and it would have regulated us out of existence, okay? The whole thing with that, and that's a bunch of bullshit too, because us as the United States, we've cut back our emissions drastically in the last 10 years, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. But now they're trying to tax us even more. They want to tax the air we breathe. They want to tax the mileage on our cars. They want to just tax the shit out of everything. They don't want to offer any solution. They just want to take your money. They want to take your livelihood. They want to take your ability to stay ahead of the game. That's what all that's about. And, you know, and when it comes to, you know, all the countries in the world, okay, the United States is not even in the top 5. All right, India, China, Pakistan, those countries are in the top 5. I think India is number 1, and the top country, okay, the biggest polluter in the world. You can combine any 7 countries in the world and you will not even come close to them. What does that tell you? Why are they coming after the United States so hard? And it always goes back to what I tell you guys, you know, in every other video, is that they're just trying to destroy free market, because America is really the place for that. I mean, it's really obvious what it is that they're doing, you know, and the temperature and the environment, you know, as far as the world goes, has been changing for decades, you know, and, like, yeah, you know, if the temperature raises a little bit, the coral reef here might die, but it'll spring up somewhere else. Like, life migrates through the planet, dude. It's always been that way. And, you know, going back to Google, if you type in, on Google, global warming, all you're going to get are arguments that support global warming. You're never going to get anything that disagrees with global warming. But if you go to some other search engine and you say, why is global warming bullshit, you'll find a lot of things that are very convincing, okay? It is not what they are trying to sell us. Oh, shit, sorry guys. It is not what they're trying to sell it as to us, okay? And that how they're saying it is not how it really is, all right? The planet's not going extinct, okay? If anything, if human beings fuck up some shit, this planet has been here long before we've existed. It'll be here long after we're gone, okay? And you can't sign over the control to these people, all right? Because as soon as you do, they're gonna screw us so hard, all right? Like they're gonna tax when your mileage, how far you drive. You drive across the country, well, guess what? You're gonna pay a lot of tax money for that. They're kind of doing almost like I swear to God, it's like an Orwellian 1984 thing, or like that movie Time, where he's got to pay a certain amount of time every time he travels a certain distance. Like, that's kind of what they're trying to set up right now, and it was working until Trump got in. For somebody who came from a design major, I mean, I've researched all this stuff, even in just doing like little design projects and stuff like that. Things for class, things for certain studies, where you realize what's out there, and most people don't really realize what's already out there. They don't realize that we could fix the problem if we wanted to in literally less than a year. Honestly, I think we could do it that fast. If we really tried, we could do it that fast. There's a lot of issues that we need to solve. Look at all this green land right here. You can't really see it. Well, yeah, you kind of can like right here, but that goes all the way back, all the way over here. What about world hunger, man? You don't think we could plant trees all along this shit? Herbs, basil, tomato bushes. That shit grows like crazy out here, but you don't see any kind of initiative going into actually making the environment work for you. And that's why ancient cultures were so successful, because they built the environment, they tailored the environment to them and to nature, to everything around it, so that there was always plenty of things around. And in a way, this is kind of an off-topic connection, but think about what they do, like how they try to demonize hunting and demonize all these things. Like, it's okay for you to go to the market and buy your fucking meat, but to actually go and kill it yourself, they don't want you doing that shit. They don't want you being a self-sufficient human being. Fuck, man. It's disappointing sometimes. It's really, it's interesting to see everything that's happened, but damn, just how people can be so gullible and stupid. And, I guess we were all there at one point, but I woke up a lot sooner than other people did. And sometimes it's just like, people throw around terms like climate change denier and blah, 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 anti-vaxxer, when they haven't really done any actual research. They just typed in something on Google, looked at the first 10 articles, and then took it as God's word, okay? And that's a huge problem. You can't do that shit, man. This whole thing was built to deceive you. Okay, you are in a matrix, and whether you and we're in a matrix within a matrix, which is kind of a scary thought, but it's true. Everything you see is it's almost kind of an illusion. It is, but it isn't. And then on top of that, you have this digital kind of matrix, or this informational matrix that is meant to keep you in a certain state of mind, to keep you from questioning things. Okay, global warming is bullshit. It is. They even say, I've read things that say, those videos where they show all the ice melting and shit. It's just kind of a natural occurrence that's happening, not even really at the very top of the North Pole, It's just kind of happening, and it always does. Species go extinct all the time. Are we contributing to some things in some ways? Yeah. But they say that the bee population is dropping drastically. But then I look at my backyard where I have my garden, and I see fucking bees flying all over the place. They're teeming. It's all over the place, man. So how do I relate what they're telling me on TV to what I'm actually looking at? And that's another thing that they're trying to get you to do. They're trying to get you to take the word of technology, okay, over your sense of sight, taste, sound, touch. They're trying to subvert all your senses by getting you to look into this fucking iPhone. Anyway, I don't know if there's anything that I kind of left out. Let me think about it for a second. I think I pretty much touched on the basic things. But to recap, If they wanted to solve all these environmental issues, they could, because they have the technology to do it and they've been suppressing it. I always go back to Google because they're a perfect example of a terrible company, okay? I did a video one time, an interview with this guy who used to work for Motorola, and they had this technology they were working on. They could inject these little wafers into your body. It was like this little robot that would go through your arteries and scrub them clean, take out all the plaque and everything, all the buildup, and cure heart disease. And when Google caught wind of it, they went in there and they bought up Motorola. You know, they took all that technology, and you haven't seen it introduced into the medical field at all, because that's what they do. They wait for some private company or some genius inventor in his garage to do all the hard work, and then they buy it, and that dude will sell it, right? Thinking that, hey, this is good, this company can do more with it than I can, right? Only to find out that they never do anything with it and they keep it to themselves, all right? Those are the kind of people, all right, that are telling you what global warming is, okay? They're not focusing on anything that's actually gonna help us, okay? They're not making any forward suggestions. You know, they're just trying to scare you. They're just trying to scare you. They're gonna try to get you to sign over your hard-earned paycheck, because they don't want to come and take it from you, because see, they wouldn't be able to do that. You tell them to go fuck themselves. But if they can try to scare you into doing it yourself, if they make you think it's your idea, then they win. You know. So anyway, that being said, I am a climate change denier, but I do think that we have some serious environmental issues that we need to take care of. You know, like, just because climate change is a bunch of bullshit doesn't mean that we're not responsible for everything that's happening in our environment. But everything that is happening in our environment is we can take care of it easily, especially with all the things we've learned now and all the technology we have now. There's no reason why we can't do it. In fact, the only reason why we can't do it is because there are people out there that are actively trying to keep us from doing it. So keep that in mind. You know, maybe I'll come back to this topic a little bit later, a little more in depth, but, you know, do your own research and use a different search engine than Google or Yahoo or anything like that, okay? Because everything you see that pops up on the iPhone and all this and that, it's all controlled by the same people, even the news stories, okay? If that's not a dead giveaway for you, I don't know what else is. We never trusted mainstream media before. Why are you going to start trusting them now? Doesn't make any sense. I try to make every minute stretch to at least 15 minutes, because that's all the time I get with you guys on each video. But it's okay. Hey, if I can break it down for you in 15 minutes, nice, plain and simple, then I'm doing a better job than CNN or any of these other fucking assholes that just, you know, talk your goddamn ears off about shit that isn't true. You know, but anyway, you guys take care. I'll get back to you on another topic, and peace out.